Imagine you're standing at a financial crossroads. On one side, there's good debt that can potentially build wealth over time through investments like real estate or education. On the other, bad debt that drains your resources and leaves you worse off, such as high-interest credit card debt. Today, we're going to dive into what separates these two types of debt and why understanding them is crucial for making informed financial decisions. Let's start with a simple truth: not all debts are created equal. A common misconception is that any kind of borrowing is inherently bad. However, some debts can actually be smart investments in your long-term financial health. Consider this: you take out a mortgage to buy a home. Over time, that house could increase in value and build equity for you. Compare that with using a high-interest credit card to finance an impulsive purchase, like a fancy new watch or a pricey vacation. The interest on the credit card debt will accrue quickly, potentially eating away at your savings faster than you can say, "I wish I didn't buy that." The difference lies in how each type of debt affects your financial trajectory. Good debt typically has low interest rates and is associated with assets that tend to increase in value over time, like homes or education. Bad debt usually comes with high interest rates and is tied to things that depreciate quickly, such as luxury items or credit card debt. Now let's break it down further with real numbers. Imagine you're considering taking out a student loan for your college education. The average undergraduate student leaves school with about $30,000 in debt. But here's the kicker: research shows that people who earn bachelor's degrees can make up to 84% more than those with only high school diplomas over their lifetimes. On the flip side, consider a credit card balance of just $1,000, carried at an average interest rate of 16%. If you only pay the minimum each month, it could take you nearly 13 years to fully repay that debt, and you'd end up paying more than double the original amount in interest. That's right, a measly $1,000 turns into over $2,000 just because you couldn't resist charging things on your card. So why do so many people fall into the trap of bad debt? It often starts with a lack of financial literacy and misunderstanding how compounding works against them rather than for them. When you understand that even small amounts of interest can grow exponentially over time due to compound interest, especially at high rates, it becomes clear why avoiding high-interest debts is crucial. Let's revisit mortgages again. A typical 30-year mortgage might come with an interest rate around 5%, and the median price of a home in the U.S. was about $416,000 as of June 2023. Over those 30 years, while you're paying off your house, its value is likely to increase due to factors such as inflation and market growth. In many cases, homeowners can build equity that they may use later in life for investments or other financial goals. Compare this with auto loans, another form of debt where the asset typically depreciates quickly. If you buy a brand new car today for $30,000 on a 5-year loan with an interest rate around 4–5%, by the time your payments are done, that car might be worth only about 1/3 to 1/2 of its original value due to depreciation and wear and tear. But here's where it gets interesting: there's more nuance even within good debt. For instance, if you're buying real estate in a volatile market or borrowing excessively for an education without a clear career path, the risks increase. Similarly, taking on too much mortgage debt can lead to financial strain when interest rates rise significantly. Understanding these nuances is crucial because the distinction between good and bad debt isn't always clear-cut. Factors such as income stability, current interest rates, and future earning potential all influence whether taking on debt can be beneficial or detrimental in your personal situation. Let's look at a real-world example of how this plays out in practice. During the 2008 financial crisis, many homeowners took on adjustable-rate mortgages ARMs that offered low initial interest rates, but could rise significantly after an introductory period if market conditions changed. When the economy weakened and interest rates spiked, many people found themselves unable to make their mortgage payments, leading to widespread foreclosures and significant financial losses for both individuals and banks. In contrast, those who had taken out fixed-rate mortgages or invested in stable assets like index funds experienced more financial stability during economic downturns. The lesson here is clear: understanding the terms and conditions of your debt is crucial for maintaining financial stability. But what about business loans? These can be a double-edged sword. A small business loan could fund an innovative idea that generates significant returns if successful. However, if the business fails or is not profitable enough to cover the debt obligations, you are left with both the loss of invested capital and continuing debt payments. The key takeaway is this: good debt should always serve a purpose, acting as an investment in your future by helping you build assets that appreciate over time or enhance your earning potential through education and career advancement. In contrast, bad debt often leads to a financial cycle of stress and uncertainty. So how do you avoid falling into the trap of bad debt? First, prioritize building an emergency fund before taking on any new debts. This fund acts as a safety net when unexpected expenses arise, potentially reducing the need for high-interest borrowing. Second, always shop around for better interest rates and terms. Compare different lenders and consider alternatives like personal loans or home equity lines of credit, which may offer lower interest rates than traditional credit cards. This can help you manage your debt more effectively without providing financial advice on specific products to use. Third, ask yourself if the purchase justifies going into debt in the first place. Will it be an asset that is likely to appreciate in value over time or generate income? Will it provide a tangible long-term benefit to your financial situation and future earning potential? Finally, educate yourself about the different types of debts and their implications. Understanding how compound interest works can be a game changer for comprehending why high-interest debts become so burdensome over time. To sum up, good debt is like an investment in your future. It should align with long-term financial goals and offer tangible benefits that increase your net worth over time. Bad debt, on the other hand, tends to be short-sighted and often comes with high interest rates and no lasting value. Remember, every decision about borrowing money has consequences, both positive and negative. Understanding these impacts proactively can help you avoid unnecessary fees and stress. So next time you're considering a loan or credit card offer, ask yourself, will this debt increase my long-term wealth or decrease it? Understanding the distinction between types of debt can significantly influence your financial health and well-being. This is educational and historical, not financial advice. Consider student loans as a prime example of potentially good debt when they lead to increased earning potential. While monthly payments can seem daunting, investing in higher education often results in better job opportunities and higher salaries over time. For instance, many graduates in fields like engineering or medicine find that their starting salaries typically cover their loan repayments efficiently. However, not all student loans are created equal. Private student loans typically come with much higher interest rates compared to federal student loans, which can turn a potentially smart investment into an expensive burden if you're unable to secure a high-paying job right away. Always shop around for the best rates and terms before signing any loan documents. On the flip side, think about payday loans as a quintessential example of bad debt. These short-term loans come with astronomical interest rates, often over 400% annually, and are designed to keep you in perpetual debt if you can't repay them quickly. The cycle of borrowing just enough money to pay off bills, and then accruing more fees is a trap that many individuals fall into, leaving them worse off financially. Another common form of bad debt is luxury spending on non-essential items like designer clothes or expensive vacations, paid for with high-interest credit cards. While these might offer short-term pleasure, they often come at the cost of long-term financial stability and savings. For example, paying $500 a month in interest charges over 5 years can easily add up to more than $27,000, money that could have been invested elsewhere. To avoid falling into bad debt traps, it's crucial to create a budget and stick to it. Prioritize essential expenses like rent, utilities, and groceries, while setting aside money for savings and investments. This not only helps you manage your finances better, but also reduces the temptation to rely on high-interest debt when unexpected expenses arise. Lastly, always consider whether an expense will add value to your life in the long term. For instance, taking out a mortgage for a home can often be considered a good investment if the property appreciates over time and provides a stable living environment. On the other hand, racking up credit card debt for unnecessary purchases can quickly become a financial burden due to high interest rates. By evaluating each decision carefully and understanding the true cost of borrowing, you'll be better equipped to make choices that benefit your financial health in the long run. This is educational and historical, not financial advice. When it comes to good debt versus bad debt, the key distinction lies in how these debts impact your future financial stability. A car loan might seem like a smart decision if you need reliable transportation for work or school. But if that vehicle depreciates rapidly, typically losing about 10% of its value each year, or leaves you with payments that exceed its value, it can quickly become an anchor around your neck. On the other hand, student loans often fall into the category of good debt when they fund education that leads to higher earning potential. For example, a degree in engineering or medicine typically results in better job prospects and salaries compared to fields where advanced degrees may not offer similar returns on investment. However, taking on too much debt for an underutilized degree can be risky. Another critical factor is the interest rate attached to your loans. High-interest credit card debt often carries annual rates upwards of 20%, making it extremely difficult to pay off without exacerbating financial strain. In contrast, federal student loans typically offer fixed lower rates, usually ranging from about 4% to 7%, and flexible repayment options that make them more manageable over time. Ultimately, whether a debt is good or bad depends on its purpose, the terms you agree to, and your ability to manage it responsibly. It's important to weigh the long-term benefits against the costs before committing to any form of borrowing. This way, you can ensure that each loan contributes positively to your financial goals rather than hindering them. This is educational and historical, not financial advice.